My name is Denis Amachree. Um, I'm a member of the Order of the Niger and a distinguished fellow of the Institute of Security Nigeria. Well, it's a long story, but I think we can try and see how much you can, make out of it. It was a long time ago. My plan was not to join the civil service. My plan was, after my education in the United States, my plan was to start a public relations firm, which I studied in the university at master's level. But when I came to Nigeria, I found out that the situation is different from what we have in the United States. In the United States, you are qualified for a particular job, you go and look for it and you get it. In Nigeria, well, no matter what the qualification is, you have to know somebody, before you are allowed in. It's a crazy one, but I managed to get an interview because everywhere I go, my proposal was to give me an interview. I believe strongly that if I get an interview, I can go ahead and, convince the people interviewing me. So I finally got an interview to the Nigerian Security Organization. That's the forefather of the DSS you have today. So the NSO was the Nigerian Security Agency responsible for counter espionage and then internal security. And of course, I got the job, started my 1-year training, and then after the training, the journey began into all phases of intelligence gathering and dissemination and operations. What surprised me was that people were not very, very serious when it comes to public service. But I think there was a difference in the NSO at that time. I think people were more serious than the normal civil service. And I remember my commandant in my training academy was telling us, he said, this is not civil service. This is an intelligence service. And true to what he was saying, we ended up with, being very, very serious, being more patriotic, because I believe that civil service or public service in any country should be people who are very, very patriotic to that country. And I think the NSO did a very good job, because I think that is where they pumped it into our head. I've not seen anywhere where they teach patriotism as a subject, but except in the NSO, in the security services, where in fact you have to sing the national anthem about 4 or 5 times a day. We sing it before we start our classes, we sing it before we eat, we sing it before we close. Any kind of gathering starts with the national anthem. And believe it or not, when I left the service, or no, not even when I left the service, when I left training, if we are like sitting down in a bar drinking beer and suddenly we hear the national service, the national anthem, we stand up. We stand up at attention, and that is the whole spirit, where patriotism is not just a word that people say, it's a lifestyle. It's something that It's in you. And you can see it in very different countries. Here in the United States, when they hear the Star Spangled Banner, which they call their national flag, or when it is flying, they all stand up. The national anthem, they will stand up and, of course, stand at attention. In Nigeria, sometimes we find out that people don't even respect the national anthem. When the national anthem is going on, even in national situations, there is the president there, and like Independence Day, for instance, you find out that as the national anthem is going on, some people are moving around, photographers and journalists are moving around, and it surprised me because I look at them and I said, it's ignorance, because they don't know what it means, to be patriotic, patriotic to your country. So that was the first shocker, but it was a very good experience. The state, when I assumed senior leadership, when I got my own command, I was sent to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport as the boss in charge of the airport, and it was quite an experience. I think most of the big experiences I got from there, working with other agencies in the airport. We have agencies like Customs and Excise, Immigration, NDLA, and all kinds of plant quarantine. All the airport, was filled up. But when I reported at the airport, I was very, very disappointed. Totally disappointed, because that was a place that is supposed to be, should I say, compartmentalized. There is passenger area, there is a public area where, if I want to see somebody who is traveling off, I go with the person to the airport. The departure area where you can check in, and after you check in, everybody leaves you behind, and then you go into the area where it's for security, and after security you go into the boarding area. And these areas are well marked in such a way that not everybody. But Nigeria Murtala Mohammed Airport experience was fantastic. Wonderful in the sense that everywhere, people were moving everywhere. You find out that even, what they call the Nigerian factor, where people were, big men, in quotes, Nigerian big men. When they are traveling, you see them, you find up to about 15 or 20 people leading them to the airport. And I had a very good experience there, which I might discuss with you later. But anyway, people were all over the place. They were not restricted, so to say. And that brought us a lot of problem, where the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, that regulates aviation all over the world, have to ban us. They banned the Murtala Mohammed Airport, and certain flights will not come in. And then, of course, any flight coming out from Murtala Mohammed Airport to Heathrow or JFK in the United States, the passengers are searched, badly. So until we have to redo our system and get things in place before, it was allowed. And that was my first assignment, because when I went in there, I saw what was going on. I went ahead and met all the heads of security agencies, They had what they call the security, airport security committee, which is made up of the heads of the security agencies. But they were not having that meeting until I went there, and then we rejuvenated it. And then, of course, we started putting rules in place to make the airport more attractive. Well, when I was in the State Security Service, like I told you, the original name was NSO, Nigerian Security Organization. After the Babangida coup, they changed, they reviewed, they restructured the NSO, and the name became State Security Service, SSS. And then after that, they also now changed the name again to DSS, Department of State Services. Okay, so when I became after the airport, I became an assistant director, and this time they gave me more serious responsibility. I was now in charge of all the entry and exit points in Nigeria. That is all the borders, all the airports, all the land borders. And the experience was something else, because I came to understand Nigeria, I came to know Nigeria very, very closely. And then, of course, I come to see some problems which are still here with us today. The borders are porous. The borders are even semi-border there. If you go to semi-border, the major border is there where the custom immigration people are there, and that's where people pass in and out. But there are other, illegal routes from which people go in and come out till today. And not to talk of the northern part, was the worst, and it is now compounding the security problem for the country. And all the bandits and all the terrorists, ISWAP, are coming in through there unchecked. And that's a very big problem for Nigeria today. Well, there's a lot of challenges. Every leader, should have something in mind to leave the place better than how you find it when you come in. So, and leadership in Nigeria, sorry to say, some people see leadership as something that, the Oga syndrome, whereby you are the top, and then of course you are the boss, total, and then of course all other people under you are supposed to bow down before you and stuff like that. I was not trained like that, although I was in the SSS, which was a structured place, but from my American training, I come to discover that they are more successful when they are leading by teams. It is the organizational structure is not pyramidic. It is groups, teams, and these teams are better because everybody in the group has a say, and I took it to a lot of places. After when I left the SSS, I went to GE. In fact, when I went to GE or Adax Petroleum, that was exactly the system they were using, because there they have groups, task groups. And these task groups can have a leader, but the leader, all the leader has to do is to direct how things are happening. So you don't have to be somebody who is dominant. Everybody's contributing, okay? And that is the challenge, and I think it gave more results. The outcomes were better when everybody in the team is contributing to the success of the project. There are many of them. Some of them I might not want to discuss them because they are classified, and others will come up in my book, which is coming up anytime this year. And but there is certain things that we do, either, and I think that has been in the newspapers in Nigeria, in the media, and a lot of people see it as a controversy. One thing that people should understand is that the security agencies, as we operate them in Nigeria, are not independent, just like INEC. INEC is supposed to be independent, National Electoral Commission, but they are not independent. Definitely they report into the presidency. And in the case of the DSS, they report to the presidency. So they are not independent. And as they are not independent, sometimes they will say, basically, the DSS is an intelligence organization. Intelligence organization in the sense that they collect information and then, of course, process it to produce intelligence. And that intelligence is what is supplied to decision makers or policy makers. And many people don't understand it. Intelligence is what runs countries. It's what runs countries everywhere. Britain, USA, Germany, Nigeria. If the leaders of those countries don't depend on intelligence, then they are going to miss the way, because you see, intelligence will direct your decision making. But many times you find out that politicians do what they want to do because of political reasons, party reasons, and then of course the Nigerian politician himself is bedeviled with ethnic reasons, language, religious reasons. So it beclouds the direction of our politics. It beclouds it. Politics does not operate properly, where anybody, even if the president go ahead and appoint 10 people today, do you know what they are going to do? Do you know what Nigerians do? Anytime there's an appointment, they all take their pen and start writing. Number 1, Kogi State. Number 2, Oyo State. Number 3, how many Yoruba people are in there? How many Hausa people are there? Oh, there is no Igbo man there. Oh, minority no day. That is what has bedeviled Nigerian politics. And it has lived with us. Some people say, oh, let's do federal character so that we can balance it, But it's not always possible. And when you start to do federal character, sometimes you do it on the altar of sacrificing talent, knowledgeable people, That's why when you look at our federalism, sometimes the people that are coming to represent their places, they don't even understand English. So you find out that when you have a House of Representatives, they are from the 774 local governments in Nigeria. And now these people are supposed to represent their local governments. And when things are being discussed, some people are sleeping. Some people don't even know what they are talking about. As far as he's concerned, at the end of the month, they will pay him his hefty salary, and he takes it home. And people will be hailing him as a politician. So these are the hitches that we have in our polity, and it's better that I hope that we are gradually coming to the realization where people will have to realize that we need to grow, we need to change, we need to be patriotic, and then of course represent, because many people don't also understand what democracy is. As far as they are concerned, democracy is elections. There are a lot of things involved in democracy. It's not only election. Election is just one small part of democracy. But they believe that it's democracy. And then of course people will come, because majority of Nigerians are illiterate. People who go to school, it's less than, it's less than 40% don't understand. And when you come there, they just tell them, vote for me, we have rice, we have beans, we have money, bread. I have seen in my time in the service, I've seen where during election, we are monitoring election like this, and people were bringing bread and giving to people. Oh, you've been standing here for so long, eat something, eat something. The line is too long, right? When they open the bread, there is money inside the bread, like margarine. So they pocket the money and then vote for the person who brought the bread. There are a lot of things that have happened, and why? It's because people are ignorant. People are totally ignorant, because if they are ignorant, then they are going to be asking for the facts. You want to be a representative. Why? What are you going to do for us? Not which bread can you give us now to eat. So those are the two different situations. Well, many public institutions, many people, when they go into public service, they don't go there to serve, just like I said. I have relations who are in the public service. Sometimes they go to work 3 times a week. Sometimes if they will go to work, the day they will go to work, they will go there around 10 or 11. And by 2, they've closed. So you find out that they are not people. I can tell you this: if they do an audit of the civil service today, you'll find out that a lot of wastages, ghost workers, underemployed people who are not, who are just there to collect salary. Some were not even there, but they collect salaries. So there is no effectiveness. If you go to the ministry, okay, you have an issue with land, or you have issue with your contract or something, those ones, they are always in the office, because they know you will come. And if you come, your file, you have to look for the file. And you have to pay for them to look for the file. And when they find the file, you have to do something. And that is not effective. It kills the effectiveness of what the civil service is. One thing I discovered is that here in the United States, the public service itself run like a corporate organization. Because I have worked in the public service, I've worked in the corporate service, corporate private companies, and in private companies, for all the 8 hours or 9 or 10 hours you're going to be there, you will spend the 10 hours working for that company. You will. You must. Because there is no time to slag around, or just lazy around, or gossip with your friend, or But in the public service, I've discovered that, especially in the civil service, you find people that they don't come to work. When they go to work, they just sit around and gossip, or Mama Yabo is selling some new handbags that her daughter sent to her from London, or they have some gold they are selling, and they'll buy it on credit. And when the government finally come and pay them for not working, they use that money to pay the basic that they have already collected. So these are the things. How can a system like that be effective? It cannot be effective. It's not productive, and that is a big problem we have. Lack of productivity. So the results are bad. Well, maintaining operational integrity. And that's one thing I was so happy about the DSS when I was there. You see, you work in a sensitive organization, and many people think that, okay, some people call us secret police, okay? Secret police. Okay, if you're secret police, that means you are still police, right? Okay, so if you're police, then you can be bribed, right? Because our police have had this, should I say, image of taking bribes, and that is where they miss the road when they come to the DSS. I know fully well, and I've encountered it many times, and sometimes when we arrest certain people, we arrest people who have done something against national security. Do you understand me? People who have done something against national security. It's not somebody take another person's land, or somebody has he owes somebody. So sometimes they bring the cases like that to us because, like I said, many people still believe we're police, so they will come. They'll come and report a case, and I'll tell them, oh, sorry, go to police. And they no, we don't want to go to police because we know you people will do it better, No, it's not a matter of we doing it better. It's not part of our job. And sometimes, I even have friends. They will call me. There's a guy who just called me. Even now that I've left the service, called me and said that his wife has run away with their 2 children. Can I try to use the SSS to track her down? Because he doesn't know where she is. I said, doctor. He said, doctor. I said, doctor, we can't do that. He said, why now? You're my brother. Try and find this woman for me. I said, we don't do things like that. And I cannot direct you to anybody to help you because this is a family issue. It's nothing of national security. He said, but she has kidnapped my children. That is kidnapping. That's national security. I said, yeah, you can define it, but I can tell you that this particular one, in the context of where it happens, is not national security. So please, go to police. Go to police. I have friends in the police. I can, I try to get some police people that give him numbers he can call to help him, But that's how it is. So you find out that operational integrity must be kept. It doesn't mean that we don't have bad eggs. We do have bad eggs. Even when I was in the airport, there was an SSS man who came to the airport to work. In fact, I didn't want him, but another director whom he has lobbied called me. Oh, please take him. And my brother, take him. You see, this brother thing in Nigeria is one of the biggest problems. So he came, and I told him, I said, let him not come here and misbehave. If he misbehave, I can't cover him. He came there. Within 3 weeks, he went and helped a drug dealer. He was carrying, I was in my house sleeping, 2 a.m. Some people came and called me, and the head of NDLA was waiting for me in the office. So I went down there because we have a rapport, all of us, the head of all the different departments. I went to see the head of NDLA, was there, and I saw this guy sitting in his office. He said, you see, this guy, was caught by my people escorting a drug dealer. And I said, well, let me call you first before I go to press and tell them. I said, okay, thank you very much. We'll take it from here. So I took him, I sent him to our headquarters. They dismissed him immediately. He would have been prosecuted and taken to jail, but I think they just dismissed him and let him away. But these are the kinds of things. You have bad eggs. There are bad eggs that will go and try to do one or two illegal things. Like I mentioned to you earlier, the DSS, according to their national mandate, should be independent. It is independent in the UK, it is independent in the United States here, and it should be independent in Nigeria, and we've been advocating for that it should be independent because, when there are political oversight, then they try to do one or two things. They will try to either make you arrest, In Nigeria, I've sat down there to listen to some people, and it bothers me a lot. If you have stolen government money, just come over to our party and all your sins are forgiven. EFCC will not pursue you again. For where? That can never happen. Because if you are following the rule of law, then you cannot allow something like that to happen. But we do allow it, and there are many, many examples of people who have stolen money. Some of them have appeared in court before. Some EFCC have their files and pursuing them. All they do is jump over to the ruling party, and then EFCC will just chill. So those are the kinds of things that you will see. There are times you send intelligence to the authorities, and they will not take it because of other variables that they are considering. Either is a party member, so we should take him instead of, because for instance, if I vet somebody, any political appointee, the name of any political appointee is sent to the DSS for background check, and we call it vetting because they go down, deep down. It's not to check your university degree, or we go down to your village. Who is your mother? Who is your grandmother? How were you behaving when you were a little boy? Want to know all that kind of stuff, and that's what they do. And then when you do it and you discover that this guy, like one that we had, has a very bad religious connections and stuff like that. He said, when we send the name is in there, but he will now take a political decision. He's a party member, or maybe nobody has been appointed into political office from his local government or from his state. So you take him, and people will take him, and that's where pressmen don't understand. And pressmen will say, oh, how about this man? So you people, DSS, you didn't know about this man? DSS knew about him. But the decision was taken politically, not with security decision. So those are the kinds of problems that we encounter, that you can see. This kind of resistance will happen. External political pressure come. But of course, you have to live with it until these agencies are independent. And when they're independent, then they will not listen to any politician. All they listen to or what they follow is the national interest, not political interest of a political party or a political president. Oh, well, in our own small way, everybody contributes. You contribute, and I think the major issue is the example that you will give or contribution you will give is yourself. It's yourself. The kind of leadership that you practiced, and that's why today, if you go to the DSS and you mention my name, I think a lot of people know me, and then a lot of people will say, "Yeah, I would like that, Oga," because of how you project, yourself and what you do, because it is a wide range of field. There are many people doing different things, and the best way that you can contribute is to do your own side of it very well. That way people will learn from it. This one is also classified, but I will tell you something. If you go to Google and you Google about a terrorist, who is called Omar Razak, he's a terrorist that hijacked a plane, Egypt Air, and then take the plane to Malta and was killing people. Every 15 minutes he would bring people and kill or shoot them. And then of course the man escaped from, they stormed the plane and arrested him, put him in jail, but he disappeared from jail. I think he escaped. So he was still going back. He was in Ghana trying to go to his cell in Sudan. But the Ghanaian government, the Americans tried to meet the Ghanaian government to release him. But Ghana government said, no, we don't want any problem with all these terrorists, so they refused. But the man is going to fly through Nigeria. And they met Nigerian government. I think that time Ibrahim Babangida was the president, and they met Babangida. Babangida said, okay, fine. He called the DG of the SSS at that time. And the DG said, okay, go to Lagos, go to the airport. There is somebody called Denis Amachree. He is the head there. Talk to him, he will do it for you. So they came, and then we sat down, we planned our strategy and everything. And the day he was passing through, we arrested him. I personally arrested him, get him in the plane. The Americans sent a plane all the way from America, put him in the plane, and within 15 minutes, he was airborne back to the United States. Right now, he's here. He's in jail. They jailed him for life. He has appealed some months ago, but his appeal was denied. But he's here. So if you go down to Google and Google him, you'll find out that they tell you the story of what he did, and they will tell you that in Nigeria, the Nigerian Security Agency helped. Because when they want to write something about the great achievements of the Nigerian Security Agency, SSS, they will always put that, And that was one that I was directly involved. So I think that it is one that, of course, I'm proud of. the American president himself, you know, congratulated me, gave me a plaque, which I still have in my house, for that arrest that we did. So, yes, there are certain things you do that will resonate all through, whether you're retired or not. And of course, that was the reason why the Nigerian government also gave me the National Award of Member of the Order of the Niger, you know, which I attach to my name sometimes, like doctor. Okay. The role of national intelligence, like I mentioned to you earlier, is one that you have to, the political leaders have to basically listen to the intelligence that they are getting from their intelligence circle, the intelligence community. You know, it's not only the DSS. The intelligence community includes the DSS and the NIA, National Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency. Of course, you have the Army Intelligence, and then of course the Office of the National Security Advisor. All of them are all processors of intelligence, and they direct the nation. So it's very, very important that they listen to them. Our politicians usually don't listen to intelligence. That's the problem we're having. But if they do, I think it will be better for the nation. I think right now, even when President Bola Tinubu came to power, he said that he was going to restructure the security architecture. You know, and I've been waiting for him to do it. I don't know what is delaying him. He should do it. The security architecture need to be rejigged by now. You know, without it, you are not going to get much result. You know, especially police. You know, police. Most of the problem we're having now, police case, bandits. You know, we are sending military to go and do police job, and that's not working. You know, the army should do their work, protect the country from external aggression. External. Police will be internal security. With the SSS, they can do that. But what has happened is that the police itself has been weakened. They weakened the police in such a way that the police cannot. Because I remember I was younger then when they introduced mobile police. Mobile police. When mobile police came, they were so trained and so effective that army cannot fight them. If army fight with police, they beat them. Even during the war, you know, if there is a serious problem and they send Mopol there, Mopol, soldiers will run away now. But what they did now is that they took the Mopols and then removed them from the police, send them to go and be guarding politicians and other people, Yahoo boys who can pay for it. And then of course the main police itself, they are not up to 400,000 in a country of 230 million. You know, so you find out that the country is not well policed. And that's why we have been advocating for state police. Because what does state police do? State police means that it is not just the Abuja police that we are seeing all the time. Every local government will have their own police, what they call sheriffs here. Then the state government will have their own police. That's the state police. And the whole idea is to bring policing to the grassroots so that all the people, you know, when there's a policeman living next to you, he's a local government sheriff, police, you know him, you know his children, his wife and stuff like that, and they all live together. If there's any problem, you can easily tell him that you did one person when we suspect you, and then it brings law enforcement to the grassroots, and it will be more effective than when something happens. Then they are waiting for Abuja Inspector General of Police to send people there. That will not work. We've tried it, it's not working. So I think what they could do, they can improve this institutional effectiveness by, breaking down the police. And then, of course, making the other security agencies very effective. It's not a matter of approaching it differently, but I think they should just go ahead and do what they're supposed to do. For instance, when I was in the service, if we want to do surveillance, I've sold newspapers in Lagos. I've sold fan ice cream for children, with the bicycle, the one with the bicycle, fan ice, we're on it, and then we'll go, and then we'll park either near a school or near a house there, and children will be coming to buy, and we're giving them change and all those kind of stuff. Okay? But that's not the job we're doing there. We're actually watching a particular house. That's how we do surveillance in those days. Then later, they brought out listening devices where you can actually listen to what people are saying in the next room. For instance, in a hotel, there are people of suspected people in one room. You take the next room, and then of course you can listen to them. With the device on the wall, you will hear them clearly what they're saying. All right, now, all those ones are old style, old school. Okay, right now you don't even have to leave your house. You don't have to leave my office. You can use satellite. You can use satellite. We can use, the internet. WhatsApp. They say WhatsApp is end-to-end encryption, but yes, security agencies can actually break that encryption. And every discussion you're having on that thing will be heard. That's why people have to know that you cannot trust most of your telephones, because your telephone can be listening to. And here in the United States, freedom of speech is number one. Nobody's going to harass you even if you abuse the president. Like the way we do it in Nigeria, nobody cares. If you like abuse openly, people go and abuse the president. You're a bad man, you're this guy, but on your telephones and all those kind of things, internet, Facebook, and everything, they are listening. They are listening. And if you talk anything about killing, then they will look for you, because then you want to be a terrorist. But if you're just talking, gisting, I don't like this man, no problem. You don't have to like him. Others like him, fine. But if you try to sabotage, like killing or destroying even national infrastructures and stuff like that, they'll pick you up. So I would say that in the world we live in now, I think we should go more into technology, technological systems, which are more, even our borders. We can protect our borders with, drones that are going to, keep track of everybody that is coming in or out, or stop anybody in or out with quick response and all this kind of stuff. Not the way it is now, where people can just walk in, walk out, some go to market, coming back, no visa, no passport. That's not the way to monitor a border. It reminds me of a lecture I was going to give at the National Institute of Security Studies, which is the top senior management training institute for the DSS, just like NIPS. And I usually every year I give a lecture on leadership, and I always make the distinction between a leader and a ruler, because you find out that a leader will always think of the future. A ruler is somebody who is a slave driver, is just using the people for his own personal gains. So I would always advise that people should be leaders instead of rulers. In Nigeria, I think what we're having now is rulers. That's why I'm saying that the concept of democracy is missing, in the sense that people, still see the political leaders as gods. During election, they will come and beg you for their vote. Please vote for me. Please vote for me. They are begging, and then you say, okay, I'll vote for you, and you vote for them. And as soon as they enter inside, they become the king. So when they use even government money to build a road, we also come out and be beating drum. Oh, thank you, governor, for building this road for us, as if my money he used it in building it. It's not his money. We have to differentiate this. The governors, the political representatives, legislators are our servants. We nominated them, voted for them to go and represent us. They are not our God. And that's the problem we're having, because immediately people go there. You need to see, I don't know whether you've seen governors moving around, or even the president. It remains for them to even carry him, or even spoon feed him, because they feel that, oh, this man cannot. I saw a governor trying to lay a foundation stone for a building, and he was supposed to use a shovel. His agbada was flowing, and people were going and holding the agbada one way while he is using the shovel, and they were all like, oh my God, his hands are going to get dirty or so. That is not leadership. Okay, that is, we see them as rulers, and that's why they've known us very well. They know Nigerians will always succumb, so they do all that, and we don't hold them accountable, so they do whatever they like. So it is very, very important that we should at least try to hold them accountable. There must be an ethical background for all public servants. Ethics, what is right or wrong. So you don't see public servants going there and enriching themselves. Somebody who is the managing director of an oil company, government oil company, he has about 80 million in his bank account. 80 billion. Where did he get it? And people will not even call him to question, because maybe he's a member of the ruling party or whatever, So these are the problems we have. Ethics and patriotism. I've talked about patriotism. We need to be more patriotic, because if we are not patriotic, we are not proud of our country, then we are just joking around. We have to be proud of our country, because if you are not proud of your country, then what are you doing? And many people are not proud of the country. That's why they are either running away out of the country because nothing is being done in return. And the American President John F. Kennedy said, don't think of what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But at the same time, what you can do for your country and what your country can also do for you. Because I'll give you an example. Some years back, an American, one single American, he lives in Niger Republic. He was kidnapped and brought to Nigeria. And he's an American. So because he's an American, they sent the whole military thing to come down there, worked with the Nigerian DSS, and they went and located the man and get him out. Just like we did in the airport, you know. But this one is an American, so they have to bring him out from the kidnappers then. You know, they don't. And that's why you see that any American would, if you arrest him or do anything, you tell him I'm an American citizen. Why? Because he knows that if you try to mess with him, his country will be here looking for him. But we have our Nigerians who have been jailed. If you go to Libyan jails now, or you go to some European countries there, Morocco, you see our Nigerian people who have been jailed there because they were entering the country illegally and they want to go to Europe or something like that. And then they call Nigerian, Nigerian embassy come. Nigerian embassy will go there. Instead of arranging for them to come back to Nigeria, they will be asking, but on a waiting on the fine come here. Why on a leave our country come begin they cause problem here? That's not what other countries are doing. What other countries are doing is to arrange and get their citizens out. They don't come there and start judging them. So patriotism is very, very important. Accountability is very, very important. You know, otherwise people will not also be patriotic to the country. For us to grow it, we have to do the basic things. We have to take care of the poorest of the poor so that they too can live. Here you have poor people. In America, there are poor people. But at least there is water, there is light. Sometimes they give them low-income housing where they live. They give them food stamps if you don't have food. They give you food stamps. You take it to the grocery shop and you pick the food you want to buy and then you go and eat. That's the country taken care of. You know, the poor, the people of the country. Why shouldn't a man like that be proud to be a member of that country? And these are the things that we should start thinking about within our own country. Well, if you're a professional, you're in the public sector, just do your best, just like what I've just said now. Do your best and think of your country. You know, occupational excellence is very, very important. If you are doing something and you are excelling in it, don't worry. Even there might be stupid people around, nonsense politicians trying to do whatever they want to do, but you are excelling in your own. You will be recognized later. You know, Nigerians have suffered. A lot of them have left the country. Some of them are here in the United States. But I can tell you, some of the best doctors we have here are Nigerians. And people are recognizing them. Nurses, you know, all kinds of people. You know, so you're doing something, do it well. Anywhere you are, whether in the village or wherever you are, just do your best and you will be okay. My leadership style, I don't know. I think you have to have emotional intelligence. You have to you know, you have to be in the shoes of the people that you are leading. You have to feel them. You know, you have to know what is wrong with them. It is not walk. It is also walk, and you know, where they call work-life balance. And if there's work-life balance, then you find out that people should be able to, you know, they'll produce for your work, and also don't think that they are slaves. They also ask them about their personal lives and everything, and of course, you all will grow to have the same objective. But if you are thinking only work, they are sick, you want them to work, you know. You can ask Dr. Taiwo there. I come to the office and I see her laying down on malaria. I say, you can't stay here, go home, because you can't. You know, you are not useful to me. If you are sitting down here sick, you have to go home. And that's how it works, because you have to think of your employees. And that's what it is. That's the leadership style. And then, of course, work in teams. Always get people together. And you don't know, you are not the wisest person. Somebody there can come up with one idea that will save the house. Well, if you want to, I don't know, I read a lot of books. But one book that Stephen Covey, have you heard of Stephen Covey? You read about, you know, the 7 habits of successful people or effective leaders. You read that book and of course it changed your life. Stephen Covey has been one that even companies use it. And in fact, companies register their employees to go for a course on Stephen Covey's books. You know, so that's one book I can tell you about. Other books I read a lot about security books, but that's not what we're talking about here now. Biggest leadership lesson. I've never thought of that. But thinking of it, you know, let me, you know, I'm not a member of organized religion. I don't believe in organized religion. But I think I also believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. And I will tell you one thing. In one sentence you said, love your neighbor as yourself. I think that one. If you do that, it's the biggest leadership maximum that you can have. You know, because if you're loving your neighbor as yourself, and then at the same time, the person is working for you, you feel the person, you know, and you can be more productive together. You know, so I think in one sentence, yes, that strikes me. I think public institutions in Nigeria, we have to reorient everybody, let them be more patriotic. Because they are not patriotic, and if you're not patriotic, you cannot work for these public institutions. Because you don't know what you're working for. People are working for their pocket, okay? They are waiting for salary at the end of the month. They are not working for the country. Do you get that? They are not working for the country. They are working for the salary they will get at the end of the, you know. It's just like Nollywood. Sometimes you watch Nollywood movies and you see, just watch Nollywood movies. Any security man you see there, when they want to fire him or your guy is sick or something, what is it? Oh, you know, oh God is sick now. How do I get my month's salary? He's not there for the security of that place. He's thinking of the money that he's going to get for his pocket. And if you want to, you know, in Nigeria, if you want to do this thing, then we have to start thinking of, you know, we have to start thinking of patriotism. We have to be patriotic. We have to make sure that our country comes first. Why do you think soldiers go there, carry a gun, and go and fight, and get killed, and die? It's not because of the salary. You know that. It's not because of salary. It's because of patriotism. My country. That's why they do that. So if we are working in the civil service and we don't be patriotic, we cannot produce a good civil service, of course. So that's something that we need to think about seriously. I think, just like when I was working with GE, General Electric, in GE, they don't see you much as the manager. They see you as a leader. Have you thought of that? They see you as a leader. And if you're a leader, then there are certain qualities that you do. Because a leader is supposed to, work towards a particular goal. And that's what we have. So, what I think, we should think of leadership differently now. And if we're doing national service, we should see the national service as one that is an obligation for us as citizens of the country to carry out.